Plastic bars tryna copy my steel. Copy my steel. Face the fact that ain't no cap, I'm real. Ain't no cap, I'm real. Plastic bars tryna copy my steel.
From the ESPN studios in Bakersfield, California, it's the Early Bird Special, bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Good morning. This is our inaugural show. This is the Early Bird Special. I didn't say the early day.
Yeah,
I've been doing that all week. But we are here live every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. And we'll talk football, we'll talk UFC, we'll talk basketball, we'll talk everything sports. And you might remember us from the Fantasy Breakdown. We took a couple-year break just to regroup because we didn't want to just do fantasy. You know, fantasy is fun, but it's only, 3-4 months.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do with fantasy football and, football.
I didn't do anything this year.
No?
How did you do?
I came in second.
Oh, okay. Second.
I almost won.
How many leagues did you play in?
4.
Okay, I played in 7.
And you came out with nothing?
I got 3 third-place trophies.
Well, see, and this is why we don't do the Fantasy Breakdown show anymore.
Exactly. I mean, because we didn't break it down correctly. But we are brought to you by the law offices of Kyle Jones, Wooddale Meat Market, where there is no substitution for quality. Oh, Wooddale's, man. I'm going to need to stop by Wooddale after the show because, there's a big game. I could see that bright-ass red Josh Allen jersey.
Or just for you today.
Oh, man.
Just for you.
The Well Comedy Club, Bakersfield's premier full-time comedy club. And then we also got MoneyWise Wealth Management. Be smart, be safe, be MoneyWise. That's a close business. I actually work there full-time Monday through Friday. And then Fusion Home Services, your one-stop shop for turf, social or solar solutions, home generators, HVACs, everything. And then 2 goats and a goose, which we'll talk more about because we'll have football picks in the second hour. Yeah, I said second hour.
We get a special half-hour extension today.
Oh, thank you, Hop. So we will do not football picks. We'll just do sports picks at the top of the hour.
Yeah, we got about 6 NFL games that you are going to have to pay attention to this weekend. So we have all of those, as well as a handful of NBA games from today. And we're going to put up for the national championship game on Monday, Michigan against Washington.
Go Huskies.
We'll save that
I'm
for...
just anti-Harbaugh, but yeah. We'll do football picks, and just like any other show, you can call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000. Just make sure you put that 661 in front because I don't know what other 842-2000 number will be if you text in. So we will do football picks. As many callers we can get in to call in. I don't know if there's 2 lines over here or 3 lines, but the first come, first serve. If you guys beat us, or even tie, we got $20 gift cards to 2 goats and the goose downtown, 1514 Wall Street Alley. Did you watch any football yesterday?
I did. I got to watch at least most of Pittsburgh. I didn't get to see a lot of Houston, though, unfortunately.
So in the next segment, we'll recap yesterday's games. We'll talk playoff scenarios. We got a special guest calling in at 8:30 as long as he's awake in New York.
I believe, it's 11:30 where he's at, so I hope he's awake.
I hope he's awake. But Brandon Lang, if anybody remembers the movie 2 for the Money with Matthew McConaughey and Pacino, he's a sports handicapper. So
the best in the nation.
If we can't help you, Brandon Lang will help you. You can learn more of Brandon Lang. I believe he's got a website.
BrandonLang.com, yes. And I believe you could hear him as well on our sister station, Kern Radio, on Fridays with the Ralph Bailey Show, at least during the football season. Throughout the rest of the year, you'll hear him right here, most likely.
And then, like I said, we'll recap yesterday's games when we come back. We'll run through some coaching vacancies, or we are expecting the carousel that happens every year at the last week of the season. And then we'll do Brandon Lang around 8:30. Football picks. Sports picks.
You're going to do that a lot.
Which I'm looking forward to Royal Rumble coming up later this month.
We got a little bit of time for that.
I sure hope so.
I got some predictions, I think.
And then LeBron's got the quote of the week.
Shoot, quote of the year.
We'll keep it tuned in right here at the Early Bird Special with Sparky and Burdick right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m., 101.1 FM. Does that wake you up?
A little bit, yeah.
Good morning. This is the Early Bird Special with Sparky and Burdick. Live every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m.
You gotta excuse me. I'm still getting used to being a morning person. I'm
Yeah.
not fully there yet.
Yeah, Burdick is also the producer of the Scott Cox Show with First Look with Scott Cox on her sister station, Kern Radio 96.1 FM.
6 to 9 in the morning, if you ever want to give us a listen over there.
And a big shout out to some friends of the family tuning in. I got Jeremy and Kelly and Grant and everybody that's on their way to church. It's a kind of I'm used to the 5 o'clock drive.
Yeah.
This is not the 8 o'clock drive to church on Sundays.
Yeah, well.
So we had a doubleheader yesterday, starting with the Steelers beating the Ravens backups.
Well, hold on. For some reason, offensive backups. Defensively, there was a lot of starters still out there. Patrick Queen was out there, who was a star linebacker. There's a handful that still played. Now, Raekwon didn't play. I know that, and I know some of their other star players. I don't think Hamilton played, the safety. But
Well, he got hurt last week, didn't he?
yes, I believe that's why he wasn't playing. But
Well, the Steelers held on to win 17-10 to keep their playoff chances, open. Najee Harris, which I had in fantasy. Of course, now that fantasy's over, he wants to run for 112 yards. But, there was a big injury, Mr. TJ Watt. So if the Pittsburgh, I'm not 100% sure. I think we'll get into the playoff scenarios. But Pittsburgh is like the last AFC team that has a chance. I believe there's 3 of them: Buffalo, Pittsburgh,
the Colts
And
had
the Colts.
a chance, but the Colts lost that chance last night with a loss.
But
So
TJ Watt went down, and Coach Tomlin after the game.
TJ is being evaluated with a knee injury. I'll have more information probably next time we get together. Obviously disappointed in that. There are challenges in the game of football, there are challenges in life, and so we'll deal with it, whatever it may be.
And, I believe Steelers fans are now Dolphin fans today because they need Miami to beat Buffalo
Yes, they do.
tonight. And once again, that bright red jersey is just blinding me.
We'll get to that later. Let's stick to the game we're on right now.
And then, what do you think about that game? Does it what kind of you expected or?
Not expected. Well, I guess you could say expected because, as we mentioned, it was the backups for the majority of the game for Baltimore, at least. If you're a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, though, your heart broke when TJ went down, and it was a Steeler-on-Steeler event. It wasn't a dirty play, just unfortunate circumstances. He has been evaluated and now has a grade 3 MCL sprain, which means he could be out all playoffs.
Yeah.
He may not play at all. So there goes your best player, verbatim, that there's no bar none there. And if you're Pittsburgh, you're already on the brink here. I mean, you want to make the playoffs, but at this point, it's kind of a moot point.
when you're rooting for Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, it's
Something's
But Mason
not right.
showed out. Let's give Mason his flowers. He played very well last night. 18 for 20, 152 yards and a touchdown, including a 71-yarder to Johnson in the fourth quarter, which was the longest touchdown given up by the Baltimore Ravens all year long. Now, granted, as we said, backups.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's still something. You still have to take that into account. I know John Harbaugh did not look happy with this loss whatsoever, but he's like 1 for 7 against Mike Tomlin in his entire career there. Now, just to shift gears here a little bit, because we did talk about this. Now Pittsburgh is sitting with a 10 wins, 7 losses on the year. Another winning season for Mike Tomlin, making it his 17th in a row. The next only other coaches above him are Bill Belichick with 19 from 2001 and 2019, the Brady years.
Oh, of course.
And then Tom Landry when he was the coach of the Cowboys, which is 21 in a row. But I wanted to express this or ask this of you because I had this thought while watching this game last night. Why is Tomlin not ever brought up in the greatest coach of all time conversation?
Yeah, personally, I just think it's because the long – the Pittsburgh
Tenure?
Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the, original teams, with Chuck Noll and all these other guys, it's kind of hard. But, with all the, I wouldn't say, Belichick wouldn't be mentioned if it wasn't for Brady. Tomlin actually has coached how many years? And like you said, winning seasons every year.
And my point here being, now granted, Tomlin came in with a great defense and whatnot. You had Troy Polamalu, you had Harrison, you've had numerous
Porter
others.
days.
Yeah, Porter days. who we hope to talk to Joey at some point, and Joey's son. I'd love to talk to him about his rookie year.
Another Steeler?
Yeah, another Steeler. But I'm just sitting here saying, Mike Tomlin, for what he's had in Pittsburgh. Now, and think about the quarterback carousel that he's had to deal with. Now, granted, he's had Ben Roethlisberger for the vast majority of this time. But in the last 3 years, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, who was the other kid who started for them last year? I can't even remember. There's been like 4 or 5 quarterbacks, and he still is producing winning season after winning season after winning season, and he's won Super Bowls. You can't sit there and say he doesn't have the rings to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we not put him in this conversation? I don't feel like the success of the franchise is a suitable excuse not to put him in that conversation.
Of course. I mean, a few weeks ago, he was, technically on the hot seat.
Exactly. And that's mind-boggling to me. And along with another coach we'll get to later with Dallas, Mike McCarthy. He has, 11 wins on the year, and he's on the hot seat.
Yeah. I mean, just speaking of that, this is ESPN reporter talking about Tomlin's future in Pittsburgh.
I would be shocked if he was not the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. I would be on the floor because when I talk with guys in the locker room and ask them, what's the difference been in them rallying from that 3-game losing streak to be where they are now, and they have unanimously said Mike Tomlin. It's his leadership. It's the way that he guides these guys. It's this motto that he has right now, scared money, don't make money.
I love that.
I like that. Scared money, don't make money.
Love that. But you can't, that's the only person you can attribute all the leadership to. Who are you going to give it to? Cam Hayward? I mean, granted, he's been there long enough, but it's the coaching. You can clearly see it's the coaching. It's just the Steeler mentality is Mike Tomlin. And to hear him being on the hot seat, in my opinion, it's like hearing Bill Belichick being on the hot seat this year. It's kind of blasphemy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but how many years do you let the guy, Belichick, just being a division guy, he's chasing Shula's winning record.
We also had to take into account, though, that Bill had a previous record before the New England Patriots, which was god-awful.
Yeah. I remember that day, or those days, but
Cleveland Brown days were not pretty for Belichick at all.
No. And then we'll get into, head coaching carousel, because I know Belichick's name's in it. It seems like, Tomlin seems to be safe.
I would hope. But,
and I mean, even if they can back into the last playoff spot,
all I'm saying is if Pittsburgh moves that way and they do end up moving off from Mike Tomlin for whatever reason they want to give, that's going to be the biggest mistake of their franchise history.
I can see that. Unless they go out and
he'll go to any other team. Shoot, he'll take Carolina, the worst team in the NFL this year, and I guarantee you he'll make them a playoff team.
Ooh,
I guarantee it.
I don't know about that.
I'd put money on
I heard a promo with the morning show over here on ESPN, and they were already linking Belichick or Tomlin to Philly, and I didn't understand why would they be talking about Philly, who was in the Super Bowl last year, and they see. I mean, they're in a rough patch right now with injuries and dropping the last few games, but.
I mean, I could see him as a defensive coordinator.
Maybe. But
I don't see him as the HC.
But moving on to the second game with the Texans clinching a playoff spot by beating the Colts 23-19. C.J. Stroud back in the lineup, went 20 for 26, 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he went to the podium talking about being a rookie and making the playoffs his first season.
To be my first season to make the playoffs, man, it's been a heck of a year, man. I'm blessed enough to be in this position for this great organization, this great city of Houston, and man, I'm just blessed, man. Words can't explain how proud I am of my teammates.
So, I'm going to ask you, offensive rookie of the year, who jumps out at you? Is it
either
Stroud?
him or Puka Nacua? Those are the only two I can honestly sit there and justify being in the conversation. And they probably will end up being the rookies of the year for the AFC and NFC, respectfully. I would think.
Yeah. Stroud deserves it, even after missing a few games. But Puka, man, Jesus.
Puka Nacua was probably the biggest surprise of anybody's year. Nobody saw it coming. I barely even remember him when he played at Oregon, and I'm a USC fan. And I'm just sitting here saying, when you are a rookie in the best possible situation for you, I think Bryce Young kind of got a bad rap this year because his team is just so awful in Carolina. I hope his career will turn around at some point, but we'll see. But if you're a guy like C.J. Stroud, I think he came into this most likely thinking, like we'll see how this season goes.
Yeah.
But this was the best possible outcome for them. However, I want to bring this up to you as well, since we're talking about coaching still and all that type of stuff. DeMeco Ryans,
Coach of the year.
I would put him up there. I think he's going to get snubbed. Personally, I think they're going to give it to probably Cleveland's head coach.
Stefanski?
I would think Stefanski.
No way. Really, you think?
I
mean, he has gone through some
pretty big
rough
turmoil.
season.
And having to deal with the number one team in football right now with the Ravens 2 times a year is what it is. Not to mention having to deal with Joe Flacco, and we'll get down that line later. But I don't believe this is DeMeco's first year as a head coach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he has led a team that I don't know about everybody else listening, but I had no faith in Houston coming into this year.
No.
None.
Going in the offseason, we did not expect Houston to be, in the playoffs.
Nico Collins, another great rookie that probably should be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year, but unfortunately his quarterback is going to beat him out.
Yeah.
He has been a star.
195 yards and a touchdown last night.
Can you name a single running back from Houston? Let's be honest.
Singletary. But I play fantasy, though. That's why.
But that's what I'm saying. And you look at the team, and the defense is vastly improved. I mean, obviously, DeMeco is a very defensive-minded player, was a stud linebacker his entire career for the Houston Texans, mind you. And it's just, I feel like he's going to get snubbed. I see it coming, and it's not a good thing to me. I don't know.
Well, do you want to stay with coaching? Because I got a couple.
Let's knock out this coaching carousel story.
So what do you think? I mean, I know getting here at 5 this morning, and I was doing a little bit of prep, and the first headline I saw was Washington.
Yep.
It looks like
the Ron Rivera
Rivera's
days.
over.
Yeah.
Which I never understood why they brought Rivera in the first place.
I got it when they had the defensive-minded team that they had, when you had Chase Young and Sweat and and Jonathan Allen and all that. It made a lot of sense. But now that you're clearly moving in a different direction, I have to agree.
Yeah, cleaning house and trading over Chase Young and all these. I mean,
and let's be honest, he'll get another coaching job most likely.
Really?
I feel like Ron would be in a conversation
maybe Michigan?
once or twice.
If Harbaugh leaves, I mean, he could probably go to college.
It could go to a college.
But the other one was the one we just talked about with Belichick and ESPN reporter talking about Bill Belichick. Is this the final game for him in New England?
I would say the forecast is leaning in the direction that it's his last game, but these things can always change. I had someone that I really trust tell me that no decision has been made by the owner, Robert Kraft, the team president, Jonathan Kraft. The belief is that they are strongly leaning toward moving on, but that this meeting that they're going to have, I'm told they're going to have a meeting. It's scheduled for Monday, and I think that meeting is going to really dictate the ultimate final decision.
So with New England, if they move on, which they're playing the god-awful Jets today in New England, I believe, but do you see the defensive coordinator being the top candidate with Mayo?
I mean, if it's somebody on the staff right now, yes. I feel like that's the only one that you can think of that really would continue the Belichick culture of New England, because he played for him. He he went his entire career there. So if that's the route you want to go, you want to continue the Patriots culture while moving off of Belichick, then yes, I feel like you go that route. However, I think New England would benefit more from reaching out to a new coach that's most likely offensive-minded, figure out this quarterback situation that you got going here, because you don't know if Zappy or Mac Jones is going to work out for you. So I think that you really need to grab somebody that is going to come in, grab their guy, and run with it and see if you can make, throw pasta against the wall and see if it sticks, as it were.
Exactly. And I mean, there's another expatriate that I read this morning that, Vrabel might be out in Tennessee. So I could also see
Vrabel coming over. I could definitely see Vrabel coming over. Or we could see.
Once again, that's not an offensive-minded coach.
No. Well, in Lord, now I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the old Raiders head coach that just got fired this year, McDaniels. I could see him coming back and running the ship because of how long he's been there.
That would be a mistake. That guy is not head coaching.
No, he's not.
Material,
but I could just see Robert Kraft sitting there saying, you know what? If we want to stick with this formula, why not stick with the guys that have been there the longest, which would be McDaniels, maybe a Patricia, bringing Patricia back, in that type of sense. But I don't see
keeping
Kraft
Mayo,
going that
if
way.
they can keep him as the defensive coordinator and bringing over somebody like McDaniels.
I think in a perfect world that would happen, but when you bring in somebody that's a new head coach, he's going to want to bring in his guys, which means usually everybody else on the staff is looking for a different job as well.
Of course. So with Rivera probably out in Washington, the headlines all week have been, Michigan's head coach Harbaugh, which we have a big game on Monday that we'll get to with the picks. The other one is the Panthers owner is ready to clean house, beginning with the GM, which I believe you told me this morning that they might have already fired the GM
From
this
what
morning.
I understood last night, that it was all but done, but I will have to double check that.
And I know how the offseason are. They say they're interested in somebody, but I know there's the Rooney Rule where they have to interview 2 or 3 different guys. But I know the big name for Carolina has been the Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, which the Panthers owner has been big on. Vrabel era coming to an end probably in Tennessee. Multiple teams keeping an eye on Belichick. I read this morning that the Commanders would love to, I believe Belichick has to be traded, correct?
Belichick has a clause in which I believe, yes, there's some sort of thing where New England gets compensation for him.
Well, I did
Just
see
like they
the other teams, the Raiders, would be interested. I could not see Belichick in Raiders gear, just especially with the history of those two.
The only team that I've heard that makes sense to me for Belichick is the Chargers. I think the Chargers have a defense that's already star-studded that would just fit well with him, and offensively, it's just it fits the best. I think the Chargers are just a team that are really just underwhelming this year. I think they really came into this year with a lot of hype, and just it doesn't pan out for some reason. I don't know what happened to Herbert this year. He just had a really off year. But that, to me, LA just seems like the place for Bill.
What about Atlanta? You're a Falcons fan.
No.
Do you think Arthur Smith's out?
I do, especially if they lose today. If Atlanta loses today to New Orleans and Tampa Bay clinches all of this, I believe Arthur Blank, who has been said today, there's a story that came out last night or to this morning that he is on the fence with Arthur Smith. I think Arthur Smith brought in something that Atlanta needed for a very long time, which is a run game and a great defense. But he cannot take you further.
Yeah.
It's already been proven. This is what you're going to get with him. You're going to get 800 or 8-9, 9-8 seasons. It's not going to work out. So I think Atlanta needs to move on. I think Arthur Smith most likely will be gone by, 2 weeks into the playoffs, if anything, if they don't make it.
Ouch.
And the name I keep hearing is Eric Bieniemy.
Ooh.
I would like Eric. I think he would fit the offensive scheme very well. And if we got a quarterback for him.
Well, do you think it would come with Fields? Because I know Chicago's been in the headlines if they're iffy with Fields, which I believe is ridiculous.
Chicago has a very interesting situation right now with the number 1 overall pick, especially with Caleb Williams being on the board and a lot of great quarterbacks as well. Caleb's not alone. That's what's scary.
It's going to be a quarterback heavy.
Absolutely. Bo Nix could be great. The guy from LSU could be great. The list goes on. But the whole point, I think, watching that game against Atlanta, the city seems to be behind Justin and want Justin. However, if anybody who watches Chicago sports in general knows, Chicago is a very fickle city.
Yeah. I'm a Bulls fan, I know.
Look at Mitchell Trubisky, okay? There was a point where they were cheering Mitch's name. Then 3 weeks later, he couldn't walk into a restaurant without being booed.
Yeah.
So don't take the fan base as, oh, that's what's going to happen. They're going to listen to their fans. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Nope.
If Chicago decides to stick with Justin, obviously the number 1 overall pick is either going to be traded or you're going to see Marvin Harrison Jr. in Chicago.
Ooh, I like that too.
I don't think they're going to move off Justin, though. I think Justin has enough talent, and they've seen enough out of him, especially with the chemistry between him and DJ Moore, that they're going to try at least one more year. If it doesn't work after this year, then...
Unless, they get somebody, They've already said, Effortless is going to stay another year. So that's why I figured, with the coach staying, I would expect Fields to be staying.
I would too, especially since you're right. In the last 5-6 weeks, actually, their defense has been the best in the NFL. So they're definitely not going to move off this head coach. If it sits right now with me, Justin's still in Chicago next year.
I mean, if I was the coach, I wouldn't be, unless some team, which is a lot of quarterback-needy teams, just like they did last year with their first pick.
And that's why I don't think Atlanta trades for Justin. I think Atlanta sees in this draft, you're going to get, especially if you don't make the playoffs, you're going to get somewhere between 7 to 10, I would assume, as far as a draft pick goes. You have at least 6 guys in this draft I can see as starters in the next 5 years.
And then the other one I wanted to throw in before the break is the belief around the league is that, if the Cowboys don't do well in the playoffs, McCarthy's name keeps, just being thrown out as, on a hot seat. But
or is it weird to you as it is to me that Mike McCarthy is always on the hot seat,
right?
Even when he's winning?
Yeah.
Like, even when he was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and I know they butted heads, and that's why they moved on from him. But
well, that's why Rodgers is in New York, because he could slap around anybody. He runs that team.
I get why Jerry Jones would want to move on, because obviously you've had this same team for years. You've had better players on this same team. Mm-hmm. So it's weird that you haven't won a Super Bowl yet. And if you don't win it this year with Dak playing the way he's playing, you're not going to win it.
Plus that defense, and for years the coordinator Quinn has been brought up every year around this time.
Don't do it. I'm telling you as an Atlanta Falcons fan, don't do it.
Been there, done that. We'll keep it tuned in. We are the Early Bird Special. I'm Sparky.
I am Burdick.
And we'll come back. Hopefully Brandon Lang's awake. I don't know how his Saturday night was, but Saturday in New York could be late. But keep it tuned in right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m. 101.1 FM.
Welcome back to Early Bird Special with Burdick and Sparky. And with us now, one of the best handicappers in the nation. You can see him at BrandonLang.com or watch the movie that's based on his life, 2 for the Money, where my personal favorite actor, Matthew McConaughey, played him. Brandon Lang is with us. What's going on, man?
What's up, boys, on Sunday morning, huh?
How are you, brother?
I'm good.
Good stuff.
Getting ready to head over to Palms to shoot my the first scene of my reality show called Cappers.
Oh.
Forward to it.
Okay.
Here on the Gamblers Channel on Pluto Network.
Nice.
And, pretty excited. It's,
good stuff. You guys shooting out in New York?
No, just here in Vegas. And shoot 2 episodes this week, and then 2 more for March Madness, and then kind of regroup, and then we'll do 2 to start the football season, and then kind of see if Netflix, Amazon Prime, or somebody comes in and says, "Hey, we love the show." So
we got a general release date you can drop, or no?
No, again, we're just like today's filming day 1.
First day. Okay.
And just with my whale, betting a game and hanging out with him for the day. So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, not many people realize that when the movie came out in 2005.
Right.
I actually went out and pitched over the next 6 years 3 reality shows. I sold 3 reality shows. I got paid to film 3 reality shows. One of which, the first one, sold USA Network. We shot the pilot. They passed. The second one, we shot for Travel Channel. They aired that show. I think it's got 6 million views on YouTube, called Brandon Best the World. Mm-hmm. It was me traveling through Scotland, betting on crazy stuff. Had like 10 grand, trying to double and triple my money.
Jealous.
The show's an absolute hoot, ton of fun. Still shocked to this day to get a 10-episode pickup. And then 3 years later, we went out and pitched again, and sold like a gambling game show where I take a family and teach them how to gamble and bet real money. And USA Network bought that one, and then we didn't get a pickup there. So 0 for 3.
Wow.
So this is 4 times a charm, and it's essentially just about the handicappers on my website at BrandonLang.com and how we live our life and pick our games and how our day-to-day lives are affected by wins and losses on
I feel
these games.
Right on. I did do some prep, Mr. Lang. This is Sparky over here. It's been probably 10, 12 years since we've talked. I actually found this guy. Old producers remember an RTIR book that they used to send out to us, and I found this this little column that they wrote. Book Brandon Lang, the best sports handicapper around. And then, 12, 13 years later, he's still a part of the group over here at AGM. But I was looking at the website. You have a deal right now going on, I believe, with the package with all your picks until the big game. So can you tell us a little bit more about how people can sign up on your website?
Yeah, it's just a package through the Super Bowl, and it's a great deal. You get none of my picks, but you get everybody at the website. Also, if you go to BrandonLang.com, we got a 1-day free all access pass, so you can get all the picks for free today. I'm not one of these guys that's trying to get your money every day and
of course
sell you every day like these tout services. No. If you're going to bet on sports, listen. I got a great stable of handicappers, and it's a very rare day when everybody has an off day. Somebody's always got the hot hand, and it's just a great group of guys that know what they're doing. And if I'm cold, Trace Adams is hot, Chris Jordan's hot, Shawn Michaels is hot, Insider Moves is doing. So it's just a great place to go there if you're going to gamble on sports. It's affordable, and my guys know what they're doing. So I always have the 1-day free all access pass, and then the great Super Bowl package. That's very, very, very affordable.
Before we get into your picks, I got to get 2 questions out now. One, you're hot. There's a moment where you're cold. When does that happen? I've never seen you go cold on picks.
No, I'm college basketball, which I've always said is my absolute favorite thing to handicap.
Feel free to give us some of those today too, if you want to. I'm all about basketball picks.
College basketball, I'm 12-3 my last 15.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Last Saturday, I came with my biggest college basketball play in the last 3 years. And I'm onto a team, and I'll give it to your listeners right now, and I'm so pissed that I keyed Indy on my website yesterday and didn't come back with my boys. I call my boys because once I watch them, I'm like, wow. So I turn on the Cal Northridge UCLA game 3 weeks ago. And if I didn't tell you what uniform the teams had, you would swear that Cal Northridge was UCLA. They were a 17.5-point underdog. They were beating UCLA off the dribble, getting any shot they wanted, won the game outright, 76-72. I was just staying up late and watching the game like I always do, and I'm like, whoa, this Northridge team is something else. I used them the next Friday, pretty big, over Montana State. And then last Saturday, they were at Long Beach State getting 8, and I'm like, let me get this straight. You can go to UCLA, and granted, it's a down year for UCLA. They went to the Final Four. Nick Cronin lost the whole team, basically. But it's still UCLA. It's still a Mick Cronin team that defensively guards, whatever. But you can go in and beat UCLA and get an 8 from Long Beach State. Biggest college play I've had in 3 years. Northridge goes wire to wire, wins the game outright by 15. They were off since last Saturday. And the Colts, home dog, NFL Saturday night, I passed on Northridge yesterday +1 against Hawaii. They win by 10. Again, they are 12-1 against the spread this year. The number 1 spread team in all of college basketball is the Cal State Northridge Matadors. Keep an eye on them. You may not get the value you're looking for, but this team could go, and they're just an absolute cash cow. So, fist it myself. You make those mistakes, live and learn. But Minshew, they talk about the kid dropping the pass. I get it. It's on Minshew.
Oh, I agree.
All he has to do is just
hit him in the
lob
chest.
It to him. It was such a bad pass. Shave your mustache and your beard and go run your dad's car wash back in Northern California. It was the easiest pass for a guy to make for a quarterback in the NFL. He's right in front of you. There's no DB you got to worry about.
Nope.
Just put it on his body. It was low and to the left, and it's just perfect play call. It's going to get down to the 5-yard line. He might score. Game over. Colts cover, and you're sitting there as a handicapper going, you couldn't ask for anything else. The missed extra point, you go right down through him, and it's 4th and 1. He's at the perfect play call. and Minshew made probably the worst pass since he threw his dad the Nerf football when he was 3 years old in the backyard. Nothing to do about it. I mean, he just regrets. He went back to where his dad beat him and threw him in the garage and said, "You're going to sit here for 3 days and you're never going to be elite quarterback in the NFL." Kids too. Kids threw the Nerf football his dad feet. He just had that mental dad moment, and sometimes kids regress, and that's.
Well, going into that final drive, they were 0 for 9, I believe, on third down, and Jonathan Taylor was reminding me of the old school, Marshall Faulk. He was running well, and then what do you know? 4th and short. What do? They give the game to, the quarterback in shotgun. So I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
But let's make sure we're clear on this. The play was wide open.
Oh yeah.
He saw what the Texans were doing. He called timeout. He saved this play for the whole game. This is the running back that has run it in practice. The practice probably goes outside a hinge, and Gardner Minshew threw up all over himself with the bib. Didn't have the binky, and that's it. Gardner, get in your house today. Get your binky, because you threw up all of Indianapolis and all of your teammates with that garbage, low to the left, ball 4, bases loaded, 2 outs, walk off. Thanks, Gardner. Thanks for seeing on campus, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason that man's a backup. But
yep.
All right, sir. Let's get to your picks. What do you got for us today?
So there's no way Arthur Smith saves his job.
Thank you.
His quarterback carousel in Atlanta. It's just not going to happen. That victory by the Saints last week was impressive. I don't like the fact Kamara's out, but I do not see the Atlanta Falcons going into New Orleans and beating the Saints today. I just don't see it. I think the Bears are a feisty underdog today. I do. I'll buy the half point and get the Bears up to 3.5. Last but not least, there's no way. I think Bill Belichick has beaten the Jets 949 times. It's unbelievable, his record against the New York Jets. So if you think the Jets, as functional as they are, this could be Belichick's last game with the Patriots before he moves on in life and decides, okay, I'm 18 or I think 17 wins short of passing Shula. It's 14. Okay, he's 14 to tie, 15 to win. That means if I stay in New England, I ain't getting there for 20 years because this team sucks and I'm horrible and I got to get out of here. So he's definitely leaving. So the fact of the matter is, where does he go? It's the same. It's so ironic. It's the same situation as Tom Brady. Brady sat back and said, okay, they want me out of here. What team of all the teams in the NFL is ready to win right now? Well, Tampa Bay was, I think, 6-11, and they led in the fourth quarter of 9 of those 11 losses. But Jameis Winston threw just as many interceptions as touchdown passes, 31. He couldn't help himself from throwing the wrong team. So Brady's going, Tampa goes down and wins the Super Bowl. Belichick's going to step back and say, what team's ready to win now? I'm telling you, Chargers.
I said the same thing.
Chargers are ready to win right now. They just had a horrible head coach that should have been a manager at your nearest Starbucks in the San Diego area.
Yep.
Telling people to come in to get the cappuccino and their lattes that you always go for it on 4th and 1 from your own 9-yard line. Nice job, Ed. See on campus. You gave up 400,000 points to the Raiders. That they're ready to win. I'm going to tell you something else. The Raiders are ready to win.
That was one I brought up earlier. Yep.
Pierce gets the job if Belichick says no. It's as simple as that.
I agree with that.
The Raiders are ready to win right now, and Belichick got an up-close and personal look at their defense. The defense is young. The defense is playing great. They got a great front four. So they're ready to win. So we'll see. But I don't see the Patriots losing to the Jets today. I just don't.
Well, good stuff, sir. Thank you so much. Can we get you back next week, too?
Sure. I'm not doing nothing on Sunday. Oh, wait, my girl's here. My girl's here from New York. So
nice.
We'll say yes.
Tentative yes. I'll reach out to you this week.
Now.
We'll talk playoffs. Everybody go to BrandonLang.com like he had said. We appreciate your time, and go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins, boys.
Thank you, brother. All right, keep it tuned in. We got one more segment. And like we said before, we're doing our sports picks at the top of the hour. Call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000. Right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 AM, 101.1 FM. Welcome back to the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 AM, 101.1 FM, where you can keep it tuned in all day as we have a triple header starting with the Jaguars and the Titans at 9:30 right after our show. Then this afternoon, the Broncos and Raiders, since we are the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. And then the game of the week tonight with the Bills traveling to Miami to my Dolphins. And you can send in your text in at 661-842-2000. I'll throw this first one at you, Chris.
Sounds good. What do we got?
It says, Sparky and Chris, congrats on the new show. I'm looking forward to the Lakers getting
Thank you.
smashed.
As am I.
By I'm a System and the Clippers tonight. Let's go Clipper Nation.
That is one of our sports picks of the week, by the way. The Lakers and Clippers going on tonight. Do you want to play that quick LeBron clip right now of how he feels how the Lakers are doing right now? Because I completely agree with him. Although I love
like
some
I've
metal
done
music,
this before,
dog.
but I was trying to wake up with some Disturbed.
Didn't work out.
Did the Lakers play last night?
Last night, I'm not sure. They do play tonight. But.
Well, LeBron after the Lakers loss.
Maybe we just suck right now.
So that was quick and easy. They just suck now.
Quick and easy.
And I'm not a Laker fan, so I kind of enjoy when the Lakers lose. And I'm actually pulling for the Clippers. I'll give away my pick now.
They did not play last night. They played on Friday, where they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, 127 to 113.
And the other message we got says, I woke up at 7:30 and immediately thought I need to turn on the Early Bird Special. Great premiere show, guys. Much love. And then the other one said, do the Bears keep Justin Fields?
We mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show. I say yes. I say Justin is at least the quarterback in Chicago for one more season. They try it again next year. I think that you have a very good chance that they pick up a quarterback late in the draft, however, still. Because
put that pressure on him?
The number one pick that they have is not theirs. That's the Carolina Panthers that they traded and somehow got in the trade for DJ Moore. Mm-hmm. Tell me if that makes sense. They also have their own draft pick, which is later in the draft, I believe more towards the middle.
Yeah.
Where you could still get a solid starting or a solid quarterback to sit underneath Justin to, put the fire under his butt a little bit.
Well, I believe the kind of like what we were saying before. I think Fields needs another weapon. Him and Moore were starting to click towards the end of the season. I think if the Bears keep their coach, I think Fields is safe, at least for another year.
Yeah.
But with like we were talking about with Brandon Lang with the coaching carousel, I mean, unless somebody throws a crazy amount of draft picks for Fields, I think he's safe.
I think so too. And I mean, John Harbaugh has been tied to the Chicago Bears at points, but I don't see him going.
All right. Well, it is picks time. I almost said football picks again, but I didn't. Call in right now. The first one's on the line. You beat us in picks. You get a $20 gift card to Two Goats and the Goose. Good love, or good food, good love. 1514 Wall Street Alley, right there behind Jerry's Pizza.
Go get you a game day, dog. Those things are fantastic.
Ooh, yes.
Or the Hudson Burger.
Hudson, you a Hudson guy?
I am.
You
I actually
like
coached
Bean.
Hudson.
I like. Did you really?
I coached
Over
Hudson
at
in
Garces?
football. I did.
Right on. Well, I like the spicy burger, the jalapeno burger.
That's a good one.
But keep it tuned in right here on the Early Bird Special, ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
Welcome back to the Early Bird Special with Sparky and Burdick. And a big thank you to the Hoppa. We got an extra half hour to do our picks and preview the final week of the NFL regular season. Looking forward to spending every Sunday morning with y'all. We have the Natty tomorrow night. We got a triple header right here on ESPN. Plus, we're going to get into Royal Rumble, whether it's next week or the week after.
We got some time.
I'm looking forward to that.
Roman Reigns just punched his clock, too. I'm telling you right now on Friday.
What do you think about, we can go over the playoffs. We can go over Sunday Night Football, the Natty.
Let's move into the playoffs real quick and just get some of these out of the way. The what's left in terms of the who can get in, who can not get in. Now, last night with the loss, the Indianapolis Colts are now no longer eligible for the playoffs. The Houston Texans have punched themselves in regardless of what happens today. They will either be a wild card or the winner of the AFC South. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Tennessee Titans today need that win in order to stay in the playoff hunt at all. So,
does Jacksonville win the division with the win over the Titans?
Yes, Jacksonville seals the
division. So they'll get a home game.
Yes, they would. But I'm going to say this right now. Jacksonville is probably I wouldn't say the slowest, but definitely the coldest team in playoff contention coming into this.
Right now?
So I don't know if you're Trevor Lawrence sitting there thinking, maybe we don't want to win this game.
No.
Get embarrassed again? I'm just saying. No, of course not. But just saying that the Jacksonville Jaguars desperately, desperately need this win. I don't see it happening, but it is what it is. Now let's move into the real game of the week, Buffalo and Miami. This game, this just boggles my mind. Buffalo wins, mind you. They get the number 2 seed in the AFC.
Yep.
They win the division, and they bump you guys, the Miami Dolphins, down to a wild card spot, and you will now have to travel to Kansas City, which brings Tyreek Hill back to his old team, which is a whole other storyline.
Of course.
And honestly, if there is a script in the NFL, it has been written very, very well this year.
I could see that. If Miami wins, they take the division and take the number 2.
And Buffalo could still technically make the playoffs.
That's what my next question was. So if Miami wins, what does Buffalo need?
Buffalo needs now, because Pittsburgh won, so that's already out of the equation. So they need Jacksonville to lose or tie. They have to have Jacksonville lose. So if Jacksonville wins today, Buffalo has to win tonight. Otherwise, they will be sitting at home in Buffalo wondering, why are we wasting the best years of Josh Allen's career? But
that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, that is what it is. But Miami also coming off of a loss against the Baltimore Ravens, and it has not been very easy for them to get where they are. So they are looking for a major, major win today as well. And Tua, mind you, I believe needs this win just as bad as Josh Allen does.
I think Miami needs this win just because of not only the embarrassment of last week, but I said it 3 weeks ago. Miami needs to win out. Miami needs to win out. And, being a Dolphin fan.
That was a tall order, though, having to deal with the Baltimore Ravens.
But not only this, but Mostert's out again this week.
Yep.
So it's going to be
Waddle, too, I understand.
It'll be A-Train. Waddle's out. Xavier Howard's out. Jerome Baker might be back after being out for a month. We really need him. Losing Chubb in garbage time last week, it's going to be a tall task. But Buffalo's had our number, or had our card for the last few years. So I'm hoping that Miami comes to play. It's going to start with, the defense. I think if they can slow down Josh Allen, which – my number one key to this game is the cornerback 2 on the other side. Last time they played was early in the season. It was before Ramsey came in. So it was Xavier Howard on Diggs. Diggs wasn't the one that won that game for Buffalo. No. It was Gabe Davis.
Diggs hasn't won any game for Buffalo this year.
My number one thing is cornerback 2. I really don't like Eli Apple, but
there's not a lot of people who do.
He stepped up last week in Baltimore, in a loss. But he wasn't the one getting burned. It was, a list of backup cornerbacks. But I'm hoping to see rookie cornerback Cam Smith in the lineup this week, especially and as well as Jerome Baker. Our defense needs a linebacker.
Yes.
And I'm going to throw this out. Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, had this to say about Josh Allen.
Allen's just a beast of a guy, a physical specimen, like John Elway was in the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. This guy is the new John Elway on steroids. And I don't think he's taking steroids. He's just bigger, faster, cannon for an arm, tough. He's a dude.
So, Vic Fangio is pretty much a Hall of Famer defensive-minded coach, so I'm hoping he has a game plan. Before we move anything further to the NFC, we got Hop on the line.
Oh, hi, Hop.
Hey, guys, I just wanted to say congratulations on the show today.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. It's like watching my little boy shave for the first time.
I can hear you crying.
But you've also been doing anyway. But seriously, I'm very happy for the both of you, and I want to get your opinions on my parlay bets for the day.
Okay, go for it.
All right, parlay number one: Josh Allen will throw for more than 1.5 touchdowns today.
Safe bet.
Coupled with Derek Carr throwing more than 0.5 interceptions today.
Ooh, okay.
That one's tougher.
No. I'd take that bet. No, Atlanta's very good this year on defense, and Jesse Bates specifically has been a ball hawk. So I could see them getting at least one from Derek today.
Okay, so I figured you guys would have a say in that, and then, Fluffy over there, Sparky, he loves his Dolphins. So here's parlay bet number two.
Gotcha.
Stephon Diggs, more than 59.5 receiving yards, coupled with Tyreek Hill with more than 99.5 receiving yards.
Ooh, Tyreek getting 100 is probably a safe bet. I don't know. Like, Diggs has just been a huge disappointment for me all year.
And I believe Ramsey will blanket him. But the one thing I would say that Fangio hasn't done is he hasn't moved Ramsey. He has his own island on one side, which...
No, that's how Ramsey works.
Which
Ramsey's
bugs me.
not a guy who will walk the entire field.
But he's been complaining on Twitter, like, let me blanket this guy, let me blanket that guy. I think that is a safer bet with the parlay. I think Tyreek will get his yards. And I would say it's safe to say Diggs is around 50 to 60 yards.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said before, I think Gabe Davis is the one that we need to stop because he's the one that's been the Dolphin trouble for the last year or so.
All right, Kitty Cats. Well, have a great rest of the show. Good luck with everything, and good luck to your teams today.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Love you both, man. You guys are awesome.
Let me ask you a question, Hopper. I know you're a Raider fan. Do you see Belichick or Harbaugh in the future, or do you like Pierce?
Stick with Pierce.
Oh, cripe. At this point, my heart's broken so many times. What ex-girlfriend do we go back to? I don't know. I really don't know. If of all the scenarios that I've heard out there, the only one that I really genuinely like is if Pittsburgh is going to dump Tomlin, let the Raiders pick up Tomlin and resume business in Las Vegas. I think he will catch the attention of the NFL there. I think he's a good kind of coach for that type of team, and I think it could work. Beyond that, who knows? Flip a coin, and we'll all see what happens.
All I'm saying is, what is with the Raiders and not letting the tuck rule game go? Because apparently you guys just want everybody from the New England Patriots now.
That's Davis.
No.
Yeah, that's a Davis
was
thing.
That the Davis
I can't
years?
see Belichick. Belichick's too old. I think Belichick may very well. He might want to go after the record for wins, but he very well may just sail into the sunset. He has done a lot of talking in the past couple of years about his grandkids and about this and about that. He has nothing left to prove in the NFL beyond wanting to capture some record, and he doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he just stepped away from it.
Nah, I could see that too.
Well, much appreciated, Hop. Good luck.
Good luck, kiddies. Later.
Right, have a good weekend. So keep it tuned in right here on ESPN Bakersfield as we'll go into the pregame for Jacksonville at Tennessee, followed by Denver at the Raiders. And then tonight's big game against the Bills and the Dolphins. Go, Dolphins, please. We just need this win. But keep it tuned in and join us next week where we'll do the same thing. We'll have some more giveaways and
possibly talk to Cody Kessler as well. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you all for joining us today. I'm Chris Burdick.
And I'm Sparky.
And you've been listening to the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield. Catch you next week.